guys, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so you can stay in tune with all the new uploads that will happen throughout the year. So today's title, let's get right into the video, is from being homeless to be grounded. As many of you saw my previous video, the first part, a part of my testimony, I've been bullied literally all the days of my life, either at school, church, family, etc. Every day was a nightmare for me at school, and it was a nightmare at home too as well. So I would go throughout my day at school, and I had two focus at school. So the first one was to go through the day, so handle the bullying, endure the pain until I would get home. So by hiding my tears, hiding in the washroom, crying for 2 minutes in the washroom, so no one could know that I was going through a hard time. And the second focus was to prepare myself mentally to go home to even more abuse. Now, I already covered a part of the first part and that part of my testimony, but now it's mostly talking about the abuse part at home. So I would always overthink like all possible scenarios. Let's say if that specific person is mad and they are in the kitchen, so I must go in the room or stay downstairs. Let's say they're in the washroom now, so I'll go back to my room or stay in the living room. I always had a what if this happened, what if that happened, here's how I'm gonna react. And like I said, it felt like hell. School would finish at 3:25. At 3:30 I would receive a call, hey, where you at? Like, you're supposed to be home, don't you know that it's l'école, la caille, l'église? But anyway, so as soon as I would get back home, remember, like, I had a whole day of bullying, and my coping mechanism was my Bible and my journal. So I would vent out my heart to God, and he will help me. Like, he would give me peace in that specific moment, or I would fall asleep, take a nap, and at some point I would get provoked just to get a reaction out of me, and I would beg them, hey, like, please leave me alone, I'm in my Bible right now, I just want some peace time, I just want some quietness, I had a long day, please let me finish my Bible study and then I'll be with you shortly. And even that wasn't enough. So nothing that I was doing was actually enough. I would always get the worst punishment compared to my brother and sister. It's like, you didn't place the boots properly, go get the belt. You I don't know, start giving attitude, go get the belt. Everything was a go get the belt. And as a child, I think it's pretty normal. Well, not as a child, but as an adult, I think it's pretty normal for a child to ask you a question, right? It's not like, hey, go do this, go do that, and the child follow you blindly, right? But it wasn't like that for me. So I would beg to be left alone, and it's only the belt that would get me. And they had so much anger in themselves, I became their punching bag. So whenever, I don't know, something bad happened at work, they were mad about something, I would get beaten. The reason didn't matter. I knew that I would end up getting beaten. And often not, I would ask, like, hey, what's up? How come you're beating me for absolutely no reason today? What have I done? Can you please tell me, like, how can I correct my behavior? Even that wasn't enough at all. And like I said, most of the time I was not wrong. It's really my grandma that would come running, like, saving me. At time I would feel like my arm were about to bleed. They became so red, and there was never any real apology. I would always ask myself, like, hey, what have I done wrong? Could you please explain to me so I can readjust? How can a family be so cruel to their daughters? And I'm all about feedback. Like, I want to know, like, what's going on? Am I doing it right? Are you satisfied? Like, I'm always about feedback. My entire life, like, I felt like I was a distant from my family. I felt like I was a bypass. I felt like there was no such thing valuable in me, because that's what they pushed me to believe. I would only get back home to lay in bed just because of the pain. It was too much for me to handle. So the best thing that I could do was to cast my problem on God. So I had crazy overthinking tendencies, because I had to always be watchful. I was walking in eggshell. I was dealing with hot and cold behaviors. The first day they see you, oh hey, have a nice day. By the end of the day, they act like they didn't know you. And I would ask, like, what have I done wrong? I don't understand. Can you please clarify why you're beating me up? And I wouldn't get any clarification. It's like, hey, I'm the adult. I know what's best for you. I serve a God. I know what's best for you. You better listen. Or else the Bible says that they will go to hell. Which is false, right? Which is false. Anywho. So my entire life, I felt like I was a family outcast. And I felt like I was a family outcast, that I was like adopted probably. Like, there's no way for me to come out of that family. I don't understand. And I would tell God, like, why this family? Why can't I pick my own family? If I had to pick, I would never had, well, I'm not going to say that, but anywho, let's stop here. So I feel like an outcast of the family, like I didn't belong. And many times I would get told, hey, nobody wants you and no one will ever want you. Your own dad rejected you at birth, so what makes you think that if someone wants you? And this is basically the fear as a woman. And they all knew that I was going through abuse. They all could see it. Many times when I would ask, like, how come you're beating me up for no reason? Literally, since they closed fire, I would ask them, like, hey, what's up? How come we're getting beaten? What have I done? How come they did something way worse and they get a light punishment, but I get the heaviest one? And they were telling me that they were just trying to help, but it was causing me more harm than anything else. And that left like a scar in my life. So I would go to school, go to church, go anywhere, like rejecting myself even before the world gets to reject me, to avoid more pain. But all that were lied by the enemy. And it was hard for me to see it, because at the time I didn't have the proper word to describe what was happening. I just knew deep down in my spirit that something was off, but I didn't know how to approach it. So my entire life, like I said, they all knew that I was going through some kind of abuse. And I remember once, like, the bullying got so extreme back in high school, so all I wanted was to sleep, be in bed. And I remember, like, they insisted for me to go down because I was in the dark room for a very, very, very long time alone. I didn't want to. I still wanted to be alone. And at some point, I got forced to go downstairs. And a couple minutes, I got asked to sweep the kitchen. And I didn't do it properly according to the standard. And I remember they telling them, hey, like, look at you. Do you seriously think a man would want to get married to you, get invested in you? You're always rejected, and you'll always be rejected because no one wants you. Like, don't you see? Like, don't you see it? How can you be married? You don't even know how to clean or how to prepare meals, or like, what are you gonna eat? And I remember asking, like, hey, like, okay, I didn't do it properly, can you please show me? And I got told no, like, you should look at yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, you look like a zombie, or yeah, you look like a zombie, like you won't have anything else to offer your future spouse other than sex. Like, will you be a prostitute? Literally, I got told that I would be a prostitute when I grew up, just because I didn't sweep the kitchen properly. And that night, that it crushed me completely. I got an apology that night, and I think that I thought that apology was sincere, like genuine and everything, to only have it restart the next day. And I confronted, I'm like, so what was that apology about yesterday if you're restarting today? I begged to be thought, to be corrected, and no, it did not happen. Like, I had to get beaten up every single time. I've never heard a sorry. It was insult on insult on insult. And I grew up having a close relationship to my brother, my dad, grandma, and showing him how to climb the stairs. We would play fight, playing games, playing with Carl. I was never this type of girl like to play with Barbies and no, give me some cars, let's play parking games. And at times when two kids are playing together, it could happen that one of them each hit the other one a bit too hard. And I would get told, like, from now on, you're not allowed to play with my son. From now on, like, go in your corner, go in your room, like, stay away from my son. And in my head, I was like, if he's your son, like, what am I to you? For a long time, like, for many times, I was not allowed to play with my brother because of that rule, because they didn't want me to play with him. So all these years of my life, like, I just wanted to die as an individual. I was begging God to take my life away, and in my head it didn't make sense. Like, I didn't understand how could a family be so wicked. Like, they see the evilness and they still try to act upon it. Like, I don't understand. So I was begging God again to take my life away, because there was no purpose, there was no meaning in my life. All I heard was insult. Literally everything that I wanted to do, or that I ended up started doing, would get destroyed. Even how I would get hit for how I was brushing my teeth, how I was taking care of myself, and I would take like hours in the washroom doing my hair mask, at least 4 hours, body scrub, self-care and all that. And I would hear comment, look at her, she seriously think that she's a dentist. Look at her, she thinks that she's a hairstylist now. Look at her, she thinks that she's a chef. Look at her, she thinks that she's a businesswoman. Look at her, she thinks she's that, she thinks she's that. Oh, you're nothing. So every single day I was told that I would be nothing in life, that there's no purpose for me, that literally I might as well just be dead. Like, it wouldn't change anything in this world. And I just wanted to go back home. Like, I was like, God, like, please bring me back home. Like, this is not my place. I cannot live on this earth with all this wickedness and evilness. Like, this is not part of my nature. I don't understand how could your own blood disregard you, or not even treat you as an individual. And I realized that all these years, like, I wasn't really looking for God to take my life away or to die in any way, but I was just looking to be found by my loved one. And that's why, like, when you live, like, when you have that new identity in God, there's no such thing as family. You came from a family, but you don't fully belong to this family. Now you have a new nature, you have a new family, which is God's family, right? Because your own people could make you perish spiritually if you don't pay attention, if you're not woke, if you're not aware. I'm not talking bad against family, don't get me wrong. Like, God put family together so we could grow, right? So we could benefit each other in a way. But yeah, so I told myself, like, hey, listen, I'm God's daughter. Like, there's no connection with my family. I'm God's daughter. But at the same time, as a kid, like, you just want to be loved by your own parents. You just want to be cherished, right? You just want to be appreciated for who you are as you are walking through life, as you're advancing in your journey, as you're learning how to different social skills, or as you're learning in school. Like, you just want to be seen. But it was never like that. I was always in my corner at home, and I wouldn't mind, honestly, because even growing up, like, my dad used to tell me that I would always play by myself in my corner. Even at times, like, I remember he told me once that my sister was crying, and I asked her, like, why are you crying? And she said, I don't have anyone to play with. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you have yourself. You don't need anyone else to play with. You can play with yourself. Like, you're literally your best friend. So I spent all my years, like, alone in a way. And each time that I would try to connect with the family, they would try to find a way to break the connection. I remember, like, going out closer, like, being so close to my little brother, and at time, like, we would play fight or play with cars, and it would end up in an argument, and I would get told, like, get away from my son, like, you're no longer allowed to play with him, like, back away. I don't ever want to see you play with him. You're not allowed to play with my son. And in my head, I was like, if he's your son, like, what am I for you? Or I had a special bond with my dad, and, like, I would try to connect with him, and we would be all good and all that, and then all of a sudden, I can't spend time with my dad. I can't approach him. It's like, get away, go in your corner. And that's the thing, when you give control of the family to the most, like, dysfunctional person in the family, it destroys everything. It destroys the order that God instilled in the family. And I remember, like, we would go skate as a kid. We would do family activities. But everything switched, everything changed. Like, I remember my dad would buy me everything that I wanted, till everything got worse at home. And like I said, I would get told every day, like, no one wants you. You are not part of this family. And every day I was treated in a way to be reminded of that every single day. So I was going through the bullying at school, and then I would get back home to that. So I had no break in between for the past year of my life. So it's like really a lifetime trauma. I had no break in between. It's like trauma after trauma, trauma after hurt, after hurt. And I would never hear an apology. And at that time, I'm like, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Like, it goes against the Bible principle. Like, you teaching me the Bible principle, but you're not respecting them. And I'm the kind of person to confront authority. Like, I won't sit in my corner and then, no, if, like, you are going against the Bible and you call yourself a Christian, I will call you out, because this is how I want to be treated too. Like, if you see me in sin, like, please call me out. Don't let me hanging like that if you know that I could perish, right? Of course, there's a way to approach it, but in my case, it was really like, hey, the Bible says this, the Bible says that. Like, I'm the parent, I know better. You shut your mouth, and that's it, that's all. I didn't have a say in anything. Even the church that I used to go to as a kid, I'm like, I don't want to go to that church. Like, this church, like, doesn't serve the interest of Christ. Like, this church is crushing me down every single time when I go. Like, they humiliate me in public, and you tolerate that. You don't stand up for us like you should, right? You're just making everything worse. And I would beg not to go to church, but every Wednesday, like, literally the car will pull up at school and would stay there until I go in the car and go to church. And as soon as I arrive at church, I pull the chair, sleep from the beginning to the end. So all that, like, kept me in a pit, if I could say. So my only strength was God, my Bible, my journal, my tears. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of emotion. But I would spend like my evening, my days with God and His Bible and His presence, because this is where I felt at home. And at some point I got told, like, you will always get rejected, you will always be rejected because no one wants you. Again, that's why you're wondering. That's why you're wondering, because no one wants you. When will you understand that? So all these years, I didn't really want, like, I wasn't looking to die. Dying, or like my suicidal attempts, or daydreaming about my funeral was a way for me to cope with the pain, to escape the pain. But I realized after all that trauma that all I wanted was to be found. Whew. Hopefully I don't cry in that video. But I realized that all these years I wanted to be found. I wanted to be appreciated for who I was and not what I could do, because I literally tried every single thing as a kid to be accepted, to be received by my own blood, by my own sibling. At time I would beg my sibling, hey, can we please go to the mall together? Can we please shop together? I'm seeing other sisters do that. Can we please do it? I would get told no, and then I would see them do it, like, with their friends. The exact same thing that I asked, like, it just couldn't be with me. I would look at videos, I'm like, hey, look at that, mom, daughter, sister, whatever vibe, or chilling, can we do something like that? It was always like no. And even at times I would propose some idea, just because the idea came from me, it was a no. The idea was not received. But later on, like literally a couple hours after, there was a family meeting and that idea would pop up. They're like, hey, I had this idea, but the idea came from me, but I wouldn't receive the credit for it. And each time that I would stand up against the abuse, like, I would be the only one talking about it, because the other one were too scared to speak up. And I told myself, like, I refuse to compromise myself with the enemy, with the devil. Like, at some point, like, you can't call yourself Christian and then you do some stuff like that are literally demonic. Like, I don't understand. I will call it out, and I refuse to compromise myself. So I was in that battle for a very, very, very long time, and I'm still in that battle, because I refuse to compromise. I refuse to be in bondage with all, like, the generational trauma. Like, it's gonna stop with me. And even strangers would tell my parents, like, hey, like, this girl, take care of her, this girl is intelligent, this girl is this girl is that. And out in public, it was always like praises. But as soon as I would get home, like, oh, do you seriously think you're going to be something because of what she said? Do you seriously think you're going to be something because of what you're doing? Listen to me. You will absolutely be you will be nothing in this life. So that stopped me from doing anything. Like, as soon as I got into a high school, I stopped absolutely everything. I was just on survival mode my entire high school. And I was still getting good grades at school. I was still getting B's and everything just to pass the test, right? But I was never ever focused in school because my brain was elsewhere. I was using my class time to clean my desk, to overthink, to think, to draw. And like I said in the previous video, like, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel like disappeared. Everything that I wanted to do as a child, it was a no. For the other, it was okay, but for me, it's like no. And in my head, I'm like, how could a family be so wicked? And last month, I finally found like a movie that represent exactly, closely what happened, the trauma that I had to go through as a child, which is called A Chance in the World. And I found a second movie that is called Grace Wins, that shows how deep that loneliness was. And honestly, I cried the entire movie. Every single minute of the movie, I cried, because it reminded me of where God took me from. Whew. I'm not gonna cry, but whew. Yeah, so my soul was just wandering because I was looking for a place to rest. It's like God is showing me and my vision and my spirit, like, who I'm supposed to be, and everything and the physical realm contradict whatever God is saying. And everything, like, nothing was straight. It's like one day I would get told something, the other day I would get told the opposite. And as a child, like, it messes up like the child mental health. It's like you're telling me, no, you're not allowed to wear pants. The next day you're telling me, yes, you can. Like, and me, when you tell me not to do something, there must be an explanation. If there's no explanation, I will not take your word for it. Like, it's like, don't touch the stove. Okay, why don't you want me to touch the stove? Because this is gonna happen. You're gonna get burned. Okay, I understand. I won't do it. Sorry. But it was on and off. Like, one day you tell me something, the other day something. It was extremely difficult for me as a child. And I will go into detail why, as to I never seek help or never talk about it or never speak up. Just gonna save that for another part. It's already too much emotion right now, so let's keep it at that. But till I hit 11 years old, my biggest enemy was the belt. So the enemy tried to destroy me all these years, so I don't make it, so I don't enter my destiny. But God rescued me, and He kept me under His wings. Like, all that pain that I've been through always brought me back to God. And that's what kept me holding for so long. I was always turning back to God. It's like, after the bullying, I'm like, God, look at that. Like, they just insulted me in front of the entire class. Like, God, it hurts. Or they just insulted me in front of a group of friends. Bear with me. But anyways, I'm trying not to cry. But anywho, And I'm like, God, like, look at that. Don't you see what they're doing? And I would remember, like, I would remind myself the Bible verse that says, when Jesus was on the cross and he said, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, show grace, show grace, show grace. Keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut, just keep your mouth shut. And it was the same thing at home. It's like the other day, like, not the other day, but every single morning, it's like everything was on reset mode. I wouldn't remember like the hurt from yesterday when I didn't focus on God. But when I did focus on God, I wouldn't remember the hurt of yesterday. But at some point, like, the hurt just got so intense, like, it started building up, and I'm like, God, like, it's enough. It's really, 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 really enough. I don't understand how you could be born in a family and they simply don't want to see you prosper. They don't want to see you be healthy. They don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you become who you need to become in this world. And this video is not to talk bad about my family or whatever, talk bad about the people that hurt me, and I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm honestly in some way thankful that it happened to me, because it helped me become the woman that I am today. Without that pain, I wouldn't be here today, or have the mindset that I have right now, or be that Christian soldier that I am right now. So there is always like a lesson in disguise in any pain that we go through, and we have the choice to either face it and be a victim of it, or become victorious and then, I don't know, rise above it, right? And this is what God was trying to do with me. And like I said, my entire life, like, I was alone. Like, even as a kid, I was not afraid to play alone. But when you look around, you're like, hey, look at this family, they all play together. How come I don't get to play with my family? How come I feel like I feel like I'm an outcast of my family? God, why did you make me, like, I'm losing my words. There's just too much emotion. But I would ask God, like, why was I born in that family? If I could pick that family, like, I would never pick that family. Like, the pain is just too much. God, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. But I'm glad that God made a way out. God kept me all these years. And I'm gonna put the 2 movie links. Actually, there's a 3rd movie as well that I want to share, which is Hope Lives, which basically shows a group of students that are going through bullying at school, how it's impacting their life, like, and they don't look like they're being bullied. So that's why it just serves as a lesson for you to be aware of your own behaviors, your own action, your own words. I'm not the type to watch movie on like Netflix or like the lastest movie. I'm gonna watch movie that are going to edify my soul. So those 3 movies did edify my soul, and some of them are Christian based as well. So these are the type of movie that I watch. Movie that has a lesson, movie that's gonna push me to be a better version of myself. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up for today. I think we're gonna wrap it up for today. I just wanted to say as well that I do apologize for the previous video. There was no music intro or outro music, so I'll take that into consideration for that current video and all the video coming afterwards. And I also want to talk about that new schedule. So I'll be posting every Sunday at 4 p.m. this is a schedule that I will commit to. And at time, like if it gets busy, like in the business or anything, and I really can't make it, of course I'll have to postpone, but I'll let you guys know in due time. So in the meantime, I'm gonna put like not a trailer, but I'm just gonna put like a short part of the movie just for you to get an extract of it, and then feel free to watch it and comment your thoughts, support, whatever. So like the channel, subscribe, share it with whoever you know that are going through the same struggle, so they could find hope at the end of the tunnel as well. And now I could say that I'm happier as a person. So my soul was really wondering because my own loved one like rejected me like since birth, and it reminded me of the Bible verse that says even your mom and dad rejected you, God will receive you. And I was clinging on that verse, so God made me, helped me to be grounded in Him, and now I found my identity in Him. Whew. Sorry guys, there's just a lot of emotion right now, but He helped me find my identity in Him. My soul is grounded in Him, and that gave me like the audacity to be myself, to be that woman that He called me to be. And I hope that through my testimony you get to find a hope and know that there's always a way out. Like all that testing or all that difficulties that you're going through is never, it won't last forever. It's only temporary. Just try to see like what lesson God is trying to teach you. And most of the time, those difficult moments is only to prepare you for your destiny, to prepare you for what is ahead. So whatever harm like the devil meant for you, his plan will never succeed in your life. God's plans will always prevail. Just like Job, the devil wanted harm for Job, but God turned everything around for His own good. So I encourage you to open your heart to the Lord. You will never, 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 ever regret it. And trust me, I myself don't regret it, or else I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. So open your heart to Him. You won't regret it. If you don't know where to start, just open your Bible, just talk to Him in your heart. He's always closer than you think, and always ready to give you His hand to help you out. So I pray that this word help you. I pray that my testimony as well help you. It's just the beginning. There's way more things that I have to share, honestly, about my life testimony, like way more things. But anywho, let's stop here for now. So I pray you have a wonderful rest of your week. Well, you're gonna see this video on Sunday, so I pray that you get a good week, and we'll see each other on the next video. Take care. Stay blessed.